Right now, we're going to move number 8 up to discuss that right now. This is a discussion of public participation comments. This is in your tab, just before tab number 8 there. And Randall, if you want to...
Well, this is a subject that comes up here and again, now and again. We've got on our agendas now public comments. Usually we're doing that at the 6 o'clock meetings and the 7 o'clock meetings. I've never been a fan of public comments, and I'm not saying anything that is on the agenda itself can always be discussed by the public. So if it's an agenda item that you're going to take action on, it can be discussed. But just to have open mic night, I guess what Weatherford called it at your work, at your orientation, where people can just get up there and start ranting and talking about anything, is totally, in my mind, a waste of your time, because you can't take any action on it. You violate the open meeting law.
You can't even respond.
You really shouldn't respond. So we've heard your comments, and then basically you'll direct the city manager or me or whomever to look into it. Well, the people who have a legitimate concern about something can come to you or can come to staff, city manager, and express that concern. If they come to you, you're going to turn it over to the city manager, and then if the city manager doesn't respond, you're going to hold his or her feet to the fire. But I've always had an issue with this. There's another item that you can put on called new business. New business is not open mic night. That has to do with where you actually may have to take some kind of action, but it's more of an emergency and it's something that you could not have been aware of when the agenda was published. That's highly unlikely to ever happen. Public comments, it's your call. If you want to leave it on the agenda, that means anybody can get up at that item on the agenda and say anything they want to say. About anything. It may not even be relevant to the city or that. So just a thought, it's a policy decision that you 7 members of the council make, but as far as I'm concerned, all it does is open you up to possible open meeting violations, because if you start responding and saying you're going to do this or that, you just violate the open meeting.
So what you're trying to say is that we should get rid of that item, public comments, and just say every time that we have an item, does the audience or any citizens want to comment based on that item? Is that what you're trying to say?
Some communities don't have anybody sign up for public comments or discussion. Some do. We all have a 5-minute rule. But if it were up to me, it's not. I'm just saying this is a thought. I'd get rid of that item altogether, because I don't think it serves any purpose except gives people a chance to chastise you for things that you may or may not have control of. And more concern is you can't take action. If you do something, then you're probably
I like that, because it seems to me we just have to be real proactive and saying, okay, item 3, we've discussed a little bit, are there comments? Because one is like they can comment and relate to what you're saying at the time, and it's in our memory instead of like 8 items down where we heard comments a long time ago. So I think it makes sense that they're talking about the relevant item at the time.
You'll know, I think this probably happens with the new council also, but people will sign up for comments, their open mic comments, and then people will sign up to talk about a specific item on the agenda, which is totally what they should do. But if the agenda item is number 15 on the agenda, you don't want them talking at the public comment. You want them talking when that item comes up on the agenda and it's relevant, and you can incorporate it into the discussion. So, and I think the easy way to do that is, Mayor, when you start the meeting, you can say something to the effect, if you have a comment on any agenda item, please let us know when we call that item, and we will give you the opportunity to be heard on that item. But
I agree.
Not,
One of the benefits, though, that that I could see in them signing up, the form that they sign at the beginning, is that if there are multiple people wanting to talk about the same topic, the suggestion that they select a spokesperson.
No, I agree. I think, and I don't have any heartburn with signing up. I think it's good because you know then how many people there are really of interest in that agenda
So
item.
what you're suggesting is that we change our agenda process so that the first thing on the agenda is not public comment.
I would have nothing on the agenda that dealt with public comment, but I think your sign up to comment on agenda items, and maybe that's the way you change it.
Do we have a space that says agenda item? What agenda item are you talking about?
Well, normally they write out beside their name what it is they want to talk about.
Should
So
they
I
number
think you could put on the, no, but I think you could put on the public, on the comments, sign up sheet, you could put name, agenda item you want to address. And if it's something that's not on the agenda, they don't call.
Is there a provision on there that you would, hopefully would already talk to the department head or to the city manager first, before approaching the council? In other words, that's the way I look at it. If someone has an issue with Maxine's department, they should go to her or to me.
Well,
And we should have the opportunity
Yeah.
to deal with that. And if we have not given them satisfaction, or sometimes we just haven't told them what they want to hear, then they come before the council.
Well, that's fine. I mean, if they come to you and they don't get satisfaction, then they're gonna call the mayor, they're gonna call the councilman anyway. And I still question as to why they would be able to get up in front of the council on something that's not on the agenda and start talking about it, expecting, because they expect you as the council then to take action, and you can't.
The only place we have this issues in the workshop, right? 'Cause that's-
Well, it is now because we've moved it to the workshop, but the workshop now it's a special council meeting because you've always got 4 or more of you there. And you know, we did have the issue where we were talking about agenda items, fully vetting them at the workshop, which several months ago I said, you can't keep doing this because the public thinks these items are on at 7 o'clock. And you've already basically made up your mind and done everything except vote. That's not good public policy, and the council agreed and changed it. So we don't discuss those things in detail at the workshop before the meeting. But I wouldn't put comments on the workshop agenda either. And the same thing's gonna happen, because it is a public meeting, it is a special city council meeting, and you're just subjecting yourself to the potential of an open meeting violation.
So then the mayor would in turn at workshop ask if there's any comments on the workshop items? Is that how he does that?
If the public's there and they want to talk about a workshop item, then they should be allowed to be heard.
All right.
So you're not preventing discussion of items that are on the agenda. You want that kind of discussion. What you don't want is the guy who got a speeding ticket and he's mad at the police officer and comes up there and starts ranting to you guys.
Right.
Or, you know, a trash can get picked up, or some other more serious thing. But the problem is you can't, they expect you to take action, you can't. All you can do is get in trouble.
So do we need to have this guidelines that we have redone?
Well, I haven't paid attention to guidelines.
It seems like there's a fine line between a business meeting and having the opportunity for citizens to comment on what's on the agenda, to bring things that are on the agenda and those concerns before the commission of the council. And having a town hall meeting.
Well, a town hall meeting's a whole different thing. I mean, that's there so people can vent. That's part of a town hall meeting in my mind, is they can show up and talk about whatever they want to that's a concern to them about their community or about anything in the community. That's different than our twice a month city council meeting where you've got a published itemized agenda, and those are the only things you can take action on.
Randall, what about public announcements and recognition?
Well, public announcements and recognitions, I mean, you can always do a recognition or do a proclamation, and just put that on the agenda, the proclamation declaring it Bike Week or Tree Week.
This is the public, making an announcement or recognition.
Well, that's, I mean, I don't know what,
We've got the form
yeah.
here, and actually we had it on the agenda just before the school bond issue, because that was the announcement.
Well, that's your call, because that's gonna be on the agenda as a public recognition
Public announcements.
or announcement. If you want other public announcements to be made by the public at your meeting, that's your policy decision also. You, as a council member and mayor, you have your comment session at the end. So if you want to talk about 89er Week or festival or bluegrass or whatever, you all individually have the right to do that during your public comment or your council comment. The question is, do you want citizens coming up there and announcing basically anything they want to announce? That's your policy decision.
Well, it seems like announcements can be a positive. I think it's commenting on agenda items earlier or on just, they're upset about a ticket is different. But if, for example, if I were, I did this before where I said, hey, the Lions Club is going to have a fish fry, and I did that as an announcement, and that's all I did, and I left. I said when it wasn't so big.
No, there's no harm in that.
That's an announcement.
And again, if they need to sign up and tell us what they're going to do, because we actually had a council member one time endorse a sheriff candidate during their session on the council. Well, that's totally appropriate.
Can those announcements be something that they run through the clerk so that she can list those in that particular session, and then the mayor just reads them? So they get that public airtime, but yet it's not free for all like this.
It could be, yeah.
In other words, if you want a fish fry, you tell Kim, she puts it on there, and then he reads it in that particular part.
You do that too?
I mean, this is purely how the council wants to do that.
Has this been misused
Oh, yeah.
in the past?
The comments have.
No, I'm talking about the public announcement. I think we're all,
Public comments.
The comments, but not announcements. I don't think announcements.
Over the years, there have been times when people have gotten up there and talked about things that you couldn't control, number one, and said some things that have been inappropriate. My issue with it is, when someone comes with a legitimate city concern, they expect you to take action, and they think you can do it at that instant.
Well, and I think that's more of a comment, is it not? I mean, announcement can be, there's some event going on, hey, we're gonna have to go to A&R parade.
The announcement comments, I'm making different,
Yeah, that's-
differentiating.
they're different.
We've got two forms here, though. We've got a public comment form that goes with the workshop, which is open mic night. And we've got public announcements and recognition, which also has on the form an agenda item you wish to address as an option. So, really what you're saying is the open mic night needs to go away, but the rest of this seems to be working all right during the meeting. And at the time that, someone signs up for item 15 on the agenda, then maybe the agenda needs to say here, or this form needs to say here, a chance to
the form
speak.
says not on the agenda.
What's that?
I said, I think the form says that something you want to speak to that's not on the agenda.
That's what, you can't speak to it in our meeting unless it is on the agenda, not on this one. In the workshop, you can right now.
I'm speaking of the announcements and recognition form.
Well, it says right here, if you wish to speak on something not on the agenda or report a concern, you should contact the city manager's office.
Yeah, minutes for speaking, but that's not.
Or your council
I
person.
don't have the heartburn with the recognition, that item on the agenda.
Then we
The
do need to
heartburn
write-
I have is with public comments.
We need to have a comment, a way for people to sign up so we know they want to speak about an agenda item, and that's what
Yeah,
the form.
and I think that's a good thing.
Well, and that last sentence needs to be changed, because it just said, it should say, at the time the mayor recognizes you on that specific item, or something like that, on that public announcements and
If the topic
recognitions,
is
that
on
last
the agenda,
sentence.
just adding on to the sentence.
Yeah, be more specific.
Just be specific, any comment, any public comment has to be agenda.
As long as the mayor recognizes you to come up and, And I think on the announcements, I don't think it would be bad for us to define a little more what's an announcement, so people aren't thinking that my getting pissed off at the city about something is an announcement. That's a comment that's not appropriate here. Announcement is you're recognizing people for events, you're talking about
Well, and I
events or
think you
something.
can
So we
address
should
that
define
when you
it.
talk about nights to this narrative. Whatever
I'm saying it
they
should-
sign up for, they
But we're
need-
giving them this.
This is the topic I want to talk about.
I'm saying we're giving this, we should have it defined here too. If it's, we're gonna give this out, it should be defined more what's an announcement versus a comment. And comments are in the
It's not an action item,
Incorporate it
this
again.
agenda, it's just something that I thought since you're retreating, you might want to discuss and at some point make a determination whether you want to keep public comments, which is what I
The big issue with public comments is that we can't take action on it.
Yeah, we can.
But do they ever have anything that is, and I know this, it's outside of the box thinking that's useful, that maybe at workshop, some of you brought something up, for example, and council goes, oh, I never thought of that, and then all of a sudden that turned into an agenda item down the road, I guess
Yeah,
they can
yeah.
still talk to the.
Usually that comes to you directly, not
I've never had that as a comment, not as a public comment.
So we probably don't need it.
No, that's never happened to my knowledge in a public meeting, but people will come to you or come to the manager. So
I think comment, they think vent. Vent is comment, I think,
Yeah.
for a lot of people,
So
so.
that's the most likely what happens. So anyway, that's all I want.
I like the band.
What I understood, your direction initially was to have the comment to be associated with the agenda, not at the beginning of the council meeting,
Yeah.
which is where it is in our agenda now.
Right.
Okay? And my sense was that there was agreement with that.
Yeah, I think the comments should be directed only to agenda items and be made at the time that agenda item is discussed. And if they sign up, then you know when to call.
Basically, we need to remove public comment from the workshop.
Well, that's a different question, isn't it? Because we're talking about the meeting, workshop is a
No,
different
it's the
thing.
same, it's the same issue because your workshop is a special city council meeting.
Okay, but the public comment can be to an agenda item on the workshop.
Yeah.
Sure.
But not open mic night.
So if that's the case, we
We're
need to
just tying
clarify.
it, we're
Applying the same
we're
criteria.
specifically applying it to the agenda item only.
Apply the same
That's the
criteria
issue.
to it that we apply to the normal meeting.
That's
We're going to work the verbiage we have on the council meeting to the workshop here, so just.
Yeah, we need to redo the form slightly just to reflect.
Okay,
that.
who's going to redo it? Kim?
I got it, yeah.
Jim, draft this up with the.
And make sure this thing has to be, define what announcement versus comment is, because I think that's where we get problems. You're gonna say, well, this is an announcement, and they're gonna have agreements, and that's not an announcement. So the mayor's gonna have to shut that person down, and but it's gotta be in
You're also
here.
gonna know it when they sign up, because they're gonna sign up and say what they're gonna talk about.
Yeah.
If it's not on the agenda, they don't
Right.
Got it.
talk. Or if it's not a true announcement.
Yeah. Fisher.
Yeah. Okay. All right, sorry to belabor that point.
Well, I think we, a bit of clarification. Good. Okay, the other, it was my understanding that the majority of our agenda items were generated by requests from councilmen. Randall, before you leave,
I'm just gonna pick up.
Okay.
I got number 20.
the code of ethics, I asked Z, I thought Z that you had asked to put that on, and I understand you didn't. But is there anything on code of ethics before Randall leaves that we need to discuss? I know that there's,
You've all read the code of ethics, you signed it.
we signed it.
Social media, you were wanting to maybe,
Yeah, the issue there is, do we want to address social media and how to include something in that?
I think we definitely do. I think it's a fact of life in our everyday world.
And we probably need to put that on a workshop agenda item to work it out, what
Yeah.
we want to do, and then eventually put it on an agenda as a change to our resolution.
It might be good to, if we can, for that workshop, have staff find what other councils have done or cities have done when it comes to social media and dealing with our unique situations. I think that
I
would be
think that's
good.
the only hole in our code of ethics that we have is the social media. We didn't addressing it.
And I think, obviously,
Concerning what we say or how it's said, or that would, in terms of the Open Meeting Act?
But this
or-
doesn't really come out and say social media, but it talks about comments that you made, public comments and things. It just doesn't clearly state social media is included, and I think that's probably all we really needed to
Like comments.
make it clear that it applies to what you say on social media as well.
What we say out loud in public is also in print. Well, I figured that would be,
It's a minor adjustment, I
I figured that would
think.
be self-evident, but I guess it's not.
Well, it is, but why not? We want to make it more clear.
But I would argue that, I mean, Steve called me about this and talked to me about this. I made a comment about the school bond issue, okay? I really didn't think it was a problem because in my mind, it was a city issue. So therefore, since I didn't have any power over that, I don't, but he made it a point, and I talked to Randall about it, that I did need to say, I'm not speaking for the council. It'd be nice in those code of ethics, I forgot what item that is, to maybe mention a way to deal with that is to say that you you clarify you're not speaking for the council, because you can make comments about certain things, but you gotta qualify.
You got free speech like everyone's got that.
But it
right.
doesn't
But
say that.
When you say city council, then it makes it look like you're speaking
the
for the
perception
council.
is that you're speaking on
For
behalf
the
of the
city.
council.
And that needs to be clarified in the code of ethics. I don't feel it is, because it basically says, to me, I interpreted that I could do that because it wasn't a city.
Well, it's pretty clear the way it is. It says,
I don't think it's very clear.
It says, when presenting their individual opinions and positions, members shall explicitly state they do not represent their body or the city of Guthrie, nor will they allow the inference that they do. That's pretty damn clear. I don't know how much more clear you can be.
No, it's not clear because it doesn't say on what. So in my whole life, I have to always preface every sentence with, I'm not representing the city. I don't
Only
think
if you type
It's
a
not.
city councilman out by.
But that's not clear in there.
Well, I mean, you as an individual can say anything you want to say anyway.
I understand, I just
But
say,
if you say, John Wood, Councilman, Ward 3,
what one?
I don't know what wards are.
Ward one,
Then you explicitly, no matter what the topic you're talking about, you would say, these are my.
I get it, but it needs to be clear in there because I read it and I didn't interpret that specifically.
If you're
So-
making a statement in the public and you're inferring that I'm a city councilman, then the inference that you're not supposed to make is that.
What you guys
this
are
is
saying
speaking for the city.
verbally makes sense. I get it. What's on there is not clear. It needs to be clarified. Understand me, because I made that public statement and I'm getting crap for it. So I need to make sure I had no bad ill intent and I read that.
I understand.
It's not clear based on anything that's outside the city, and it's not clear, you know what I'm saying? And I put my title, it's not, it wasn't clear to me, so it's not gonna be necessarily clear to people 5 years from now. Let's clarify the
So we may have to change,
That's what I'm saying.
add something to that paragraph 13 that reflects if you're using title or something to that effect.
Yeah, and that would help me. If I said, if this was just using title, I was like, oh, crud, I should,
Yeah,
you know.
okay.
I hear they on the same page.
I think we are. Anything else in the ethics arena that we want, that we need clarification on or want to raise an issue, topic on?
This